here only because you were aiding others.
The original Watchers, too, were selfish. They wanted the knowledge for its own sake, not as a tool to be used. And that attitude triggered the virus.
Uh-oh, the beacon's getting ready to guide us someplace. But where?
Seems to me there's only one way to find out.
Now it's a vibe break, y'all know what it is. When it comes to the subject of whether it's necessary to withhold certain esoteric knowledge, certain occult knowledge, you know, and whether, you know, like it really is certain things that you shouldn't speak on or speak of. One thing I'm realizing, this for the most part, you know, we already know this, but just kind of refining, like, and just when you add even another perspective to certain things, it just helps to like solidify it. And it's like, you know, upon my journey, I realized that, you know, the information or the knowledge that needs to be hidden is gonna hide itself. Like, I think what a lot of people is not necessarily saying, in essence, is that, you know, yes, it is certain knowledge that, you know, we have to be ready for in order to receive. It is certain knowledge that everybody shouldn't have their hands on, so to speak. But I see where the knowledge, unless it's, again, karmically, like, so, because the first thing that could pop up was like, well, why the Americans who were very abusive, or like these European colonists, was allowed to know a lot of these mysteries. Well, that had to deal with, you know, karmic energies, you know, the reversal or movement of certain things, or a cycle where it's like, all right, this is a down cycle for some beings, and now these beings will be able to access this, even if they're going to be a little destructive with this awareness, you know. But ultimately, the knowledge hides itself, you know. The universe, or the universe is has its own little initiation type of, you know what I'm saying, thing going on, dealing with our vibration, you know. Like, quite literally, if you're vibrating on a certain frequency, you're not going to be able to access certain things. You're not going to be able to access certain knowledge depending on your vibrational frequency, and vice versa. You know, you will have access to certain knowledge and certain things. You will have not access to certain knowledge due to your vibration. You know, so knowing certain things or not knowing certain things has to deal with your vibration first and foremost. Now, when it comes to, again, this whole notion of like, you know, one faction is like, oh, you shouldn't teach magic or, you know, deep alchemy or magic to regular human beings. This is only for pure-blooded or beings of a certain, you know, DNA lineage or something of that nature. You know, kind of like all the animes and magical shows, you know, with the primary one that comes to mind is, you know, Harry Potter, you know, the Muggle bloods, they shouldn't be able to practice magic or and then the pure bloods like, hey, we're pure blood, you know what I'm saying? We should have the right to withhold the magic and the knowledge, and, you know. But ultimately, you know, the universe reveals the mysteries to a being when they're ready. The whole reason why some people never went on a DMT trip yet, or even was open to it, because of their vibration, and it didn't allow for them to get initiated into that experience. You know, just point blank period. You know, like what I feel like, again, with karma and things cycling and coming around, I feel that maybe things that went on the downside because the knowledge was withheld, you know, on a toxic level. You know what I'm saying? Like some of that knowledge was held back or used to control, you know, and not let other people know how they was being controlled or manipulated through these magical powers, and, you know, and how they were being manipulated by other beings having knowledge of something that they weren't knowledgeable about. You know what I'm saying? Due to that energy, it's like, you know, all right, it's a reversal. Like some beings took the knowledge and hid it and then used it against people who didn't know it. So all right, because it is a realm of dual nature and of cycles, aka the laws of the universe. You know, the law of cycles are things coming in seasons or waves. You know what I'm saying? The law of, in essence, polarity or positive, negative, you know, or duality to some extent, you know. So with that being said, after, you know, a being that withhold information that in essence they probably was meant to share, and not only withholding it, but then also using it against people as they're withholding it, you know, it's like, all right, what's the opposite of that? Because whatever's the opposite of withholding it and being powerful because you held that knowledge, then the opposite gotta happen. So meaning that you're no longer gonna be able to, you know, monopolize on the knowledge. You'll go through oppression and be oppressed by the same knowledge that you hear from somebody else. You feel me? And I mean, you kind of see that, like what most melanated people are beings that didn't really know of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like they were being oppressed by the same magic from their ancestors. You know what I'm saying? AKA, you know, numerology, gematria being used to create rituals with the government and stuff against you. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you think that come from? That's a cycle in a karmic situation, and you know, a lot of us are becoming more aware of that, and hence why we do our best to share as much as possible. You know, now I will say, you put an asterisk by that. I feel like what makes a quote unquote teacher or somebody that shares the knowledge or should be sharing the knowledge, what makes them is somebody who is able to tactfully share this knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Share it in a manner where a person can receive it and apply it, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, you know, it's like, that's a cycle. That's, you know, cause and effect, you know? The cause was using the knowledge for power and trying to oppress people with it, and especially and it comes tenfold whenever you in essence are considered a being that should know better, in essence. Like it's almost like because when you look at it, like, oh, I'm God, I control this, I control that, you know, it's like, you know, it's like, well, then you're like the parent, since you're so aware and all this, and you have the, like, in comparison to our relationships within the family, you have, you know, you're like the elder. And should the elder be withholding, not only withholding the knowledge from the children, but then using the knowledge they're withholding to control the children or control, you know, younger people or younger beings, you know what I'm saying? So, role reversal, what happens when the children you know, have the, you know, the keys to the knowledge? What happens when the children feel like, oh, we just find out this how it works. We about to, you know what I'm saying, return the favor to, you know, and whether it was done consciously, you know, with that deliberate consciousness or not, you know, but just in general, you know, that's a part of like that shift of how we handle knowledge is due to that, you know what I'm saying? It's due to one side abusing it, you know, and using it to oppress others, so it happens the other way around. And so, you know, the big lesson loop, you know, is like, all right, we went through years of, you know, 400 years of slavery, all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the bigger loop to come back, and now, you know, beings being activated are becoming, you know, reaware after going through that down cycle or that effect after the cause, and now have a chance to be like, oh shit, I remember how we mostly got into this shit. So let's make sure that we do our best to share and trust that source gonna protect us, even though we sharing knowledge that could be used against us or this and that, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, not being afraid to give somebody a hammer to build a house, you know, or like somebody say, for instance, you know, it's like trusting in source that if you make a hammer to build a house, like, yes, it could be used as a weapon, but you know what I'm saying, you're not like gonna withhold the knowledge of using a hammer or withhold the hammer, you know what I'm saying, from everybody due to your fear that somebody might use the hammer for something else, you know. Now I'm talking about an actual hammer, not a pistol. But that, pretty sure in some way that analogy probably could be applied. But you know, it's just like seeing that in conclusion, the knowledge has a way of, you know, keeping itself hidden from those that don't really, you know, need to tap into it. You know what I'm saying? Or not say need to, it has a way of, you know, hiding itself from those who shouldn't tap into it, or those who's not a vibrational, you know, match to even be connecting with it in essence, you know what I'm saying? But no reason to hide the knowledge, you know. And again, if it is, you know, these days, that's why, you know, you see some that have classes with a paywall or something like that, because it's like, hey, you know, if you of the vibration where, you know what I'm saying, you got abundance flowing and you see the value of this knowledge to the point that you're willing to, you know, share energy or funds for it, then that's being in alignment to hear that, you know, that knowledge, you know what I'm saying? You know, so for the knowledge that, you know, that ain't common, you know what I'm saying, and kind of does have like an entry level, like a literally an entry level fee to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still available nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you could find out who teaching those classes compared to like it being so extremely secret, you know? Like it being so extremely secret to where, you know, nobody is aware in that essence of it, you know? But just simply tapping in to share that, you know? Like this is a part of the cycle of what we have gone through, and, you know, part of the truth, just a simple part, you know, I'm kind of just, you know, simplifying it, of, you know, the whole cycle of, you know, the accessibility of knowledge or lack thereof. Like, it's going through a cycle where this knowledge is accessible to certain beings than not. But how did that start? You know what I'm saying? Because when we know the root cause of a lesson loop, you know, we could help prevent it from continuing constantly, you know what I'm saying? As I say that, sometimes it's tougher to do that than other moments, but you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Now it's a vibrate. Peace.